Hey everyone, and welcome to another installment of Tom's World. In today's video, I thought we'd go back to that abandoned prison farm and see what's changed in the last year. So, let's go check it out. So we just have to make our way up this trail, snow-covered Poquessing Trail. And around the bend, the entrance to the abandoned prison farm should be there. You can still see the buildings through the trees. And right about now you should be able to see it. It's been a little while since I've been here. This part here is what they call a bank barn. Now what a bank barn is, for those that don't know, is a barn that has entrances for the first floor and the second floor. And this over here would be the ramp to get to the second floor. And then the first floor was down here. So I had to look that up to see what a bank barn was, but now you know. And here we are going up the ramp. A little tough to do in the snow. And well, I hope it's sound enough to hold my weight. I don't really know what's under here because I didn't come up here last time. So just in case, I'm not going to step on this part here because that's the roof of that little room. But you can see into the building there. And we'll be going in there in a second. All right, let's go inside. If you want to call it inside. As you can clearly see, there's no roof or anything. And once again, there's that little room where we were on the ramp up there. Every time I come here, the graffiti changes. Some of it's still the same, but a lot of it's new. So just to give you a little history about this place, this was a prison farm that the land was purchased. Priorly, the land was privately owned, but the land was purchased by the prison systems in 1932. The development of the farm was held up due to a couple factors, one of which is a couple of deaths that happened. The superintendent of prisons had passed away, as well as the architect that they hired to build the other buildings around here. So they kind of had a little problem there. Plus they were in the middle of a depression at the time. And also there was a lot of like political turmoil going on in the city. So things just got held up left and right. Eventually, the buildings were well underway by the mid-40s, and by like 48, I believe, 48 or 49, they started actually using this as a farm. Their original intent, I believe, was to actually have the prisoners stay here. However, they decided to just bust them in from various prisons in the area. And they would work on the farm, then they would take them back at the end of the day. So these doorways right here, you can see that there's 4 of them. This would have been the front of the building. And if you look out here, you will see that there's pillars right there and down that way. Sorry, got a little tangled up in a weed that was hanging down. Now these pillars can be seen in another picture that I have looking at the house from out there, and I'll show that to you right now. So as you can see, looks a lot different. It was a lot nicer back then, but time and Mother Nature have gotten to this place. Not to mention the various parties and little graffiti and everything like that. So But it's amazing that stuff is still here. Look at all that. I mean, trees have grown in here. Weeds have grown all over the place. Lots of tires are dumped back here. Pieces of the building, you can see. I'm guessing they fell down from up there, because you can kind of see that half of the windows on that top floor are still there, so there was a lot more to it. So that just probably tumbled down from there down to here. I had focused in on this tire the first time that I was here, and when I was here with Kenny Biddle and his wife Donna, and I was helping them navigate around here. It just sticks out to me that that tire has been there a long time, long enough for this little tree to grow out of it. It's just crazy. Lots of branches that are like twisted into each other all over the place. But to continue with the history, the prisoners that were here also had to lend a hand with burying people in a potter's field, which is not far from here, over on Dunks Ferry Road. It's still there to this day. Some of the people have been moved out of there, most are still in there. And they were other prisoners that had passed away and people that were in Byberry Mental Hospital who had no family to claim them. They would just bury them there. So that was opened in 1954. And then, sorry, sinking in everywhere here. And then by the late 50s, early 60s, a lot of the farmland was being bought up by housing people, and they wanted to make houses for people to move into and neighborhoods. And there's even a church, which is still there to this day. And they just kept taken away from the land little by little until there wasn't much left of the farmland, which wound up having its last harvest in 1968. After which they shut this down, and it turned into what you see now over the years. Now, the very last time I was here with my friend Kenny, I believe this blue graffiti here, I think that was being made by a young man. He didn't want to be identified. I focused in on this tree before too. Grew right through the middle of the window. You'd see it's all wrapped around it. Little things like that, they amaze me. I think they're cool. You could still see spray paint cans. I'm sure I'm stepping on tons of them. Not to mention beer cans. Yeah, I don't know if this tree was down the last time I was here. I have to go back and look at my old video. Go around the corner here. And I also suspect that this long corridor here, based on some of the stories that I heard from a presentation about this whole land, this was probably one of the mess halls that they would eat lunch in, or breakfast, or whatever. Aside from that, I don't know what a lot of these other rooms are. There wasn't like a detailed map that I could find that showed the way it was laid out. Obviously there was some kind of stove here or heating element. There's the hole that the pipe would go in the chimney up there. And then after that room, I think there's only one little room left. Yep. First time I was here, there was actually like a little comforter and a pillow here. So I think somebody was staying here. It could still be there under the snow, I don't know. But then you'll see around the corner, that's pretty much the end of the main building. Okay, heading back this way. And I'm slipping and sliding all over the place. Little doorway here. And I'm guessing this was the support for the second floor, or the roof. I don't think there was a second floor to this, at least it doesn't seem like it. And somewhere in one of these rooms there was still an electrical box on the wall. I know I saw it when I was here with Kenny and Donna. And I was looking for it back there, but I didn't see it. But I think I have a picture of a room with the exact same type of box, so it could be the same room. Maybe it was in the main bank barn here. And check that out. Nope, it wasn't in here. It's possible that maybe somebody ripped that down and that's why I didn't see it back there. But for now, we're gonna go across the way and check out what's left of the greenhouses. And here's the best view I can get of the pillars. There's just a lot of little trees and weeds and stuff. So the one picture I showed earlier, if I found it, was pretty much from this direction, but I think it was further back. Wabbit twax. One of the things you got to make sure that you're observant of here, there are multiple little holes like this. Again, I'm guessing had something to do with the watering system, because up ahead is, I think, what was the pump house. So if you do find yourself coming here, just be very careful where you step, especially with the snow around, because there are a lot of little dips and holes and a lot of things you can get hurt if you don't know where you're going. And this is another reason why I think this was the pump house, because they had these little dugout ditches here, concrete, that the water would flow into, and then underneath, and then into here. And I'm guessing this is where all the filtration systems were, and the pumps, and whatever else is in a pump house. I don't think that I've ever been in an operational one to know everything that's involved with that. Again, the roof is gone. And here's more of those little things that the water would flow into. And then just on the other side is what's left of the greenhouses. And once again, now I'm actually inside the greenhouse, so you have to watch out for these things. They are all over the place here. See, and I sat down for a second because I just got a phone call from a friend. And I didn't notice that I was sitting on ice, and now my butt is all wet. Anyway, so this is the inside of the greenhouse. There used to be concrete tables that lined both sides, this one and the one behind me, and in the middle where I'm standing. And you can see these little steel things sticking out. That was what the tables were resting on. And they had like little holes in the bottom for drainage. These concrete pieces are still all around here. I'll see if I can find one. But right next to us, 2 walls over, that's the other greenhouse. So they had 2 of them. And from what I understand, when they first started this farm, most of what they grew here was like potatoes. but they eventually ended up growing a lot of different stuff. It fed the prison systems for Philadelphia and the surrounding areas, and they also gave a significant amount of food to the Philadelphia Zoo for the animals, which, for those who don't know, the Philadelphia Zoo was the first zoo in the country. So here you can see these are pieces of that table, and you can see the hole right there, and that's pretty much how most of them were. They had those little holes in there, which I assume was either for poles to hold it up or for drainage. Drainage seems to make more sense to me, but you can see all the pieces out here, and I'm guessing that's what was from inside here. Now we'll go check out the other one. And for those of you who follow me regularly, in my last video, again, I apologize for not filming when I took that fall. I'm doing really good. My back never wound up hurting much from it. I just have some scrapes on my elbows, and that was about it. The back did hurt a little bit, but nothing to speak of. So anyway, this is the other greenhouse. As you can see, the trees and the brush are a lot thicker in this one, so I'm not really able to walk through it. But you can also see that those concrete table slab things are in there as well. And they were, you know, I mean, it's a decent size greenhouse. Both of them are the same size. So here you go. This is the view from the step on one side, and you can see how far down it goes. So that, you know, two decent sized greenhouses, plus all out this way, though you can't see it because of all the trees. All around here used to be fields, and they would actually grow all their crops around here all the way down to Dunks Ferry Road. They owned all this land, and little by little people bought it up. So just imagine, without all these trees here, this was all open fields. I believe initially they didn't have much in the way of equipment, so they were growing their root products like carrots and potatoes and stuff amongst all the weeds that were here, until they were able to get some equipment here and they were able to like kind of mow all that down. And then eventually this all became a thriving farm. It was well known at the time in the area. So eventually, as I said, they started selling off the land, some for residential, most for residential. And in the presentation that I saw about the place from the Historical Society, they said that there wasn't really any kind of fencing separating these prisoners that were working on the farm from the local kids who were playing in the area. As I said, there was a church made and there was a playground, and eventually the kids found their way onto the land, and they would throw, like they had apple trees and stuff like that. They'd be throwing the apples all over the place, just, you know, having fun like kids do. But it wasn't helping the process of the farm. So right now we're heading on back to the very beginning. So just outside the pump house here, you can actually see where there was like a little awning here, like a porch or something. Long gone though. And it's a little hard to see because the snow that's everywhere, but the little in-ground things that I showed of the watering system over by the pump house, there's one that runs through here as well. And these little pipes you see sticking up are, I'm assuming, these things here, which they look like supports for the second floor. And as I mentioned, this was the entrance to the second floor. So it wasn't a very tall first floor. And judging on the fact that it's got windows up there, then there must have been a third floor as well. Either that or just a really high second floor. They got them over here too. But now we'll go back out this entrance that we came in. And there it was, the old abandoned prison farm along Poquessing Creek in Poquessing Creek Park. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I know that a lot of people seem to enjoy the first one. I know that it has over 1,000 views at this point. And you can feel free and go back and check that one out. That one I did in March, so there's no snow. And you can see everything. I just didn't know as much of the history at that point. I did search around for some, but I was not able to find any before I got here. But now you know it, and you can go back and watch that one. So I'm trying to see if I can find a path down to Poquessing Creek, because I can't be near it and not show it to you. But while I'm finding that, I wanted to tell you about some friends of mine. You can find them on Facebook, and some of their pages are also on YouTube as well. They have a few different names. You can find them at Psycho Bunny Death Cult, which, don't be intimidated by the name. There's a large array of shows that they have on there, one of which is mine. Actually, two of which is mine. One is just me, usually with the guy that runs it for me, Frank, and that we just call Tom's World. And then I have another one called Dom and Tom's World, where it's going to be like a variety show. We're going to be doing interviews and stuff like that. And there's a large array of different types of shows you can find on there, and everybody on there is super cool. So you can find them at Psycho Bunny Death Cult, Psycho Bunny DC, Psychomantium 13, and Roots Bleed Red. Again, don't be intimidated by the names. The people on there are all super nice. They're great people, and I've come to think of them all as family. They've welcomed me in with my show on Tom's World. We just show my videos, and I talk over them sometimes and answer questions in the chat and just interact with people. And then we talk in between videos if I'm showing more than one. Lately, I've only been showing one because my videos have been about a half hour long. And I still have not seen a single path to go to Poquessing Creek. And I know there's one in here because I took it before, when it wasn't snowing, or when there was no snow, I should say. This is just a continuation of the Poquessing Trail. I don't know, maybe I can get down this way. But anyway, make sure you go check out those pages and just start breezing through the videos. Like, see if it's something that you like, and if the people seem like cool people to you. There's, like I said, a wide array of people. Liz and Frank, they usually have a variety show, or they might be cooking, or they might be telling stories behind like serial killer cases. I mean, it's all very, very interesting. And oftentimes you'll find me in the chat. I usually watch pretty much everything they show on there, as much as I can anyway. Sometimes I have things to do at home, but I try to be on there as much as I can. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm getting down there that way, but I know up this way there's a little bridge that goes over the Poquessing Creek, which I wanted to show you anyway because it's an old bridge and kind of historical. So we'll go up there. But again, make sure you check out all those pages, and if you like them, stay around. Make sure you like them. If you do like them, make sure you hit the like button, and that way you'll get notifications whenever people are doing live shows. But you can always go back and watch the recorded shows. Now, I know you could find Psycho Bunny DC, Psychomantium 13, and Roots Bleed Red on YouTube as well. Listen to how quiet it is. Here, I'll stop walking so you can hear it. Crazy. I'm just glad it's not windy today for a change. Found a little friend. He doesn't want to come near me though. Oh well. So there's the bridge I was talking about. And a lot of the houses that I just passed are original to the street, which is older than that abandoned prison farm. They tried to buy up that land way back then, but the people wanted no part of that. They loved living on their little quiet street, which to this day is still quiet. So here we are on the bridge. It's called Century Lane Bridge. It was built in 1853 and rehabilitated in 2004. Right now, I'm standing right on the line of Northeast Philadelphia and Bucks County. But this bridge is right over the Poquessing Creek, so now you got to see it. In all my videos where I come near here, I try to get at least some of it in there. It runs off that way to the right, and then it's got a little run in, I guess you could call it, like it's coming in from that way into Poquessing Creek. So I'm not sure what that stream is, or creek, or whatever. Could be Byberry Creek. Not really sure. I didn't think to look that up, because I don't think I noticed that before when I was here. But you can tell it's a pretty old bridge. You know, I mean, it's been redone in 2004, but from 1853. Pretty cool. So as I'm walking back to the car, I still have quite a ways to go. I guess I'll wrap it up right here. I just want to remind everybody to check out the SAROBIA fundraiser, so that we're trying to raise money so that we can purchase plants and tools to remake the garden over at Neshaminy State Park. The link will be in the description. And also check out my videos of Neshaminy State Park, and you can see the progress as me and the other volunteers dug out all the brick paths. So as I am not far from my car now, I'm going to wrap this up. I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you stay safe, stay healthy, and take care.